That's a good question. I don't know. Like, I mean, this is not the way we would do it. But I can tell you what's definitely not right is that you have to go to prison for 2 years, for this. Actually, if there would be more people dancing without clothes in the church, I would maybe think about going. So that's another discussion, I guess. So, no, I mean, I think that's why the outrage comes from, is that the punishment feels like so crazy and, for what it actually was. How certain groups, the ways they go, like, I can't even judge that. We wouldn't do something like this, but what I like in general is when people, try to make a statement with their performance. But yeah, what's the point? I guess, maybe a good point was that in all of this, a lot of people realized that very often oppressive regimes, they attack the artists first. And we see this in all kinds of countries now, in, I don't know if you remember the Dixie Chicks when the Iraq War happened. And it's very strange how in the Western world, immediately people fear the consequences, that they don't get played on the radio, they can't get shows. I mean, we have seen these consequences many times. But still, we decide, no, at this point we need to speak out, So it's, I can't judge if this particular action was good or negative or whatever. I think they made that decision, and in terms of like a sort of a political decision, it almost has blown up so much. I mean, actually, I feel like almost when you would do something like this in Germany, maybe the cops you have to pay some money and nobody would even care or something. So sometimes the question is if this hard punishment creates the opposite effect of what those in power want. But on the other side, I think it showed the world also another side of Russia that's still there, and it shouldn't really be like that. I've been to Russia many times and I love people there, and there are so many amazing also artists and stuff, and to me it's, but then sometimes you wonder if the West is using that also to just point the finger why, there's a lot of bullshit like this going on in our world too. But people, they don't want to look in this direction, So if you, for example, look at WikiLeaks, that's one example. I mean, I'm maybe the wrong person to answer this question, but the way I always understood Riot Girl, and I'm a big fan of this music and most of these bands, is that women should be in control of their bodies. They should decide about their sexuality and how sexual they want to be. And it's like the typical scenario. I think that in a lot of Riot Girl bands was written about and spoken about in songs and stuff, is, for example, the question of rape. Yeah. And we all know this argument. It's like, oh, why did you dress with this short skirt and stuff? Like, I don't care. If a woman walks down the street naked, the man, like, they don't have the right to do anything until the woman gives them permission. That's just a basic rule. And it doesn't matter what she said, what she did. It's, if she says no, like, you as a guy, as a man, you just go, okay, I have to accept this. And to me, that's what a lot of the Riot Girl stuff is about. So, they don't need to perform like nuns or something on stage. They could if they want, but they can just be free, and shouldn't be always looked at as a sex object. I mean, to me, it's funny, like, if, for example, with the Riot Girl stuff, a lot of the bands, I think they have, a much bigger sex appeal than, pop artists like, Shakira or these kind of people. But it's because of their personality. I find really amazing and attractive instead of just like, oh, there are some tits. I mean, like, this is, to me, I mean, it depends, there are some guys who don't look further, but I don't, you see this kind of stuff in ads. You have to be maybe, if you work in the Vatican, maybe that's still a thrill. Oh, there's a naked woman. Ah! Or naked guy or whatever. No, but you know what I mean. It's like to me, to me, I that's how I understand Riot Girl. Women should decide, and that's the same with rights to have an abortion, etc., etc. This goes very far, of course. Activate!